The name game. Dirk, Bo Burke, banana, fana, fofurk, me mama, homework. Dirk, Chuck, Bo Buck, banana. I won't do that. This is Two J's in a Pod. I'm Mary Ellen Murphy.
And I'm Sarah Leach.
I'm from WGHN Radio.
And I'm from the Ottawa News Network.
We'll get to Ottawa County talk. Last week, we came here to record. Dirk was on a tour.
We were left unsupervised in our defense.
Which he made a documentary called The Route to Elsewhere. Now he's got a book that talks about those travels, and he will be at Murphy's on Washington tonight at 6:00, but this will air tomorrow. But you can get your books at Murphy's, right? Okay.
Yay.
Okay, so you can get your books there and read about Dirk's thing. I wanted to talk some national news. We're still in a shutdown. These messages that were leaked from young Republicans. Did you see that?
I did not. You know what? I got to be honest. I was out of town over the weekend, and I hid from the news for a while.
Thousands of private messages reveal young GOP leaders joking about gas chambers, slavery, and rape. I'll be honest, I'm not shocked at all.
How did we not just assume that was already happening? I mean, isn't that what assholes do?
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, I'm not surprised by that at all.
Right.
Anyway, I just thought that was interesting. I had Rep. Skolton on the show, that interview at WGHN.com. She's back in D.C.
How's she doing?
Good.
Yeah?
Yeah, she's they're trying to get stuff done, but nobody's talking to anybody. It's,
right.
She's pulling her hair out. When we were here last week, I hit the record button. I must have stopped it and didn't hit it again, and that's why it didn't record, so my apologies. But one of the things that I had talked about was lip service. Mm-hmm. I get paid a lot of lip service, and I'm going to try to be gentle in how I mention this, but it's something that's really bothering me, and it's been going on for a really long time, and I'm just going to, when certain government entities or certain organizations favor one media outlet over the other, you're doing a disservice to the community, okay?
Yeah.
And I have been fighting this for I don't know how long, and I'm not chasing stories anymore.
Right.
You want me to know something? I guess you're going to let me know about it. And if you want to go to another media outlet that maybe gets 20 hits a month on their website, you go right ahead. That's all I'm going to say.
No, I mean, that's
it's
fair.
ridiculous.
That's fair.
What I deal with would never fly in Grand Rapids.
Yeah.
Ever.
Yeah.
Okay?
No, I mean, I remember when I was at the Sentinel, we often had to just sort of beg for access to lots of different things.
Yeah.
I mean, including the county government, ironically, way before all of this, nonsense with COVID and OI happened. But yeah, I mean, I remember those days, and now I'm kind of back in that position now, because when you're trying to establish a new operation,
right.
You have to remind people, okay, all my contact information has changed. This is how we need to access one another. I just had a Zoom call with Mayor Box in Holland this week, and I just said, how can we know what's going on in Holland? I mean, you basically have to reinvent the wheel. It's exhausting. It's exhausting.
It is.
He was very friendly about it,
Sure,
and I think that
sure.
I'm not criticizing him in any way.
No.
I mean, he was actually really receptive, but it's just I have to consciously seek out all of these relationships that frankly naturally should be there, right? Yeah
It's just it's frustrating, and if that's the way you want to go,
well,
go for it.
Why don't people want their messaging out there? Because,
go for it.
And I think a lot of sources, the ones that, like maybe business owners and stuff, they're like, well, I can do this better than any media outlet, and I want to control my own messaging, so I'm just going to do this myself. And then when it doesn't work, then they blame the media for not noticing their social media posts or their, whatever they're putting out into the ether, and that they're not writing. We're not writing about it. And it's like, because you didn't.
That's exactly what happened. Something was broke on
thought
Friday.
you could do this yourselves. And
Something on Friday. 2 media outlets had it. I had to go searching for it and ask for the information. Over the weekend, it was all over Grand Haven Inform. People asking questions about what they had just talked about on these. So whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah. I mean,
my website's free, by the way.
Yeah. Same.
So I just had to say that. I'm sorry. It's frustrating. It's frustrating. And I only have so much time in a day. I can only do so much.
Right. Well, I heard that. But I'm curious, did you ask Skolton about her thoughts on the Democratic leadership and how they're handling the shutdown? Or did you guys not get into that?
We didn't get into that.
I'm really curious as to what sort of this like new generation of progressives in the party, how they think about the old guard, right? Pelosi and Schumer and because I hear like just locally in local circles a lot of criticism about we need change and we need to have leadership. We got a leadership vacuum. But I'm just thinking, well, what would it matter? Like let's say AOC was the head of the Democratic Party right now. Let's just for assumption and argument's purpose, what would she do differently right now?
Right.
I mean, what would that change? Mm-hmm. I mean, we still have this showdown between what's supposed to be in the budget and what's not, and I just don't see anybody really compromising on those things. I don't know where the break is going to come. I really don't.
I have no idea, and I don't know.
But did you see about the airports where that are refusing to air the Kristi Noem video?
That would include Gerald R. Ford and Lansing's airport.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yes, which is that to me is like one of the most concerning pieces of this thing is the proliferation of propaganda on government websites. That are reflecting just one political position to support the president versus anyone else. And those agencies and those websites are supposed to be representative of everyone in this country, not just one political party. That, to me, is the most concern. That, the press access to the Pentagon.
Yep.
I'm just like, what are we doing?
I know.
This is crazy.
It is.
I mean, like, this is echoing, back to like 1940s Germany kind of crazy.
It is. And moving forward, I don't think Democrats can say, well, once we get back in, we'll bring things back to the way they used to be. The way things used to be is done.
Yeah.
It's over.
Yeah.
It will never go back to the way things used to be. I don't know what the thinking is on any of that, but it's very confusing, and I just don't know what they're doing.
Yeah, I saw something on Facebook, and it was a friend sent it to me, our mutual friend that we have.
Yes.
And it was a Facebook post by Leonard Pitts Jr., and he said, democracy doesn't always die in darkness. Sometimes it dies in broad daylight, and that's exactly what's happening right now. Mm-hmm. And I was actually really struck by that because I thought, I kind of felt that in my bones, That's literally what's happening. If you're not going to print what we want you to print or publish, then you're not going to get access to the information of the people who are going to play ball. Mm-hmm. Doesn't anyone else that's terrifying.
It is.
I mean, we're not even going to question that. Like, a lot more people should be upset about stuff like that.
I wanted to mention the No Kings protest. I did hear that if anybody that's listening is going, I'm not going to assume that you're going, but if you're there and you're in an area and violence starts happening, you're instructed to sit down, put your head down, and turn your sign over and just sit there.
Yeah.
That's what you're instructed to do so that they will know that you are not part of something that might have been brought in to incite violence. You cannot tell me that Republicans are not freaked out about this Saturday.
Yeah.
It's going to be huge across the country.
Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised.
They are freaked out, and that's why they're throwing all this stuff out there all over the place. Okay. We lost Diane Keaton. That was sad.
Oh, my gosh.
For crying out
loud. Right
after
Robert Redford.
I know.
Man, I'm at that age where my heroes are dying.
I know. I know.
I don't like it.
And I guess her Bette Midler and Goldie Hawn, they were in the First Wives Club.
Yeah.
I watched that last night. But apparently, after that film, they made a pact that when it's just us left, we'll all move in together and have a really cool house in California and live. And it's just so sad. It hit a lot of people really hard. It just did. I texted Sarah yesterday. I fell asleep during the Ottawa County Board of Commissioners meeting when Gary Rosamo was talking because he's got the softest voice. It's like ASMR.
I told you, it's like verbal Valium.
I was like, oh, okay.
So what?
I don't know.
It's funny because when I heard the audio, I mean, he's got such a distinct voice that I instantly knew exactly. I mean, I belly laughed pretty hard. Yeah.
It was
I think
funny.
I pulled a muscle.
It was funny. So we didn't. We thought we were recording last week,
and we were awesome, and it was amazing.
It wasn't. I fucked up, but.
Walls, big talk.
Yeah,
no, that's true.
It literally was our greatest episode.
It
ever.
was. It was. We talked about Grassgate 2025.
Oh, Grassgate, yes.
Which is Grassgate at the Fillmore Street Complex.
All right. So this is lots of people are talking about this on the socials. And so what this was in 2023, there was a project that was approved by the Board of Commissioners where, and it was $95,000, and it was an effort to put in native grass plantings that are indigenous to the area, with the idea of this is less maintenance because obviously with turf grass you have to fertilize it. It's got shallow roots. You've got to mow it. You've got to water it, all of that stuff. So this is sort of a return to lower cost. It's more of a natural solution, and also it was part of a broader effort to help retain groundwater.
Oh, okay.
And so
interesting.
It was championed by the Department of Strategic Impact and with coordination with all of the other departments, and it was installed. And so I remember the story in 23, and I've been to the Fillmore Complex lots of times, and I think it looks beautiful.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, like in late August, early September, there's all of these people who are contacting me saying they're going to rip out all of those, native plantings. And I just think, who would murder grass? Like what? So I have to be honest, and I apologize to the people who tried to reach out to me in the beginning. I sort of blew it off because I'm just like, okay, we've got bigger problems going on.
We kind of do.
And then I started hearing more of these tips from people that were working for the county, and those concerns got to be a little bit more detailed in terms of this being a preference allegedly by the interim administrator, Mr. Rosema, and that he just did not favor the aesthetic of the native grasses and preferred the turf grass, look. And I guess he's of a certain age in a certain era, and so I guess I was not necessarily surprised by that. And I have not talked to him, so this is just what I was told. I'm not, assuming that this is accurate, but this is what I knew at the time. And then all of a sudden, it gets ripped out and bulldozed. And then everyone lost their ever-loving minds. And so there was a bunch of pictures all over Facebook about it and all these questions. I think that what I am struggling with in terms of trying to figure out how to report this story is it's not necessarily about the project itself. Apparently, the majority of what was removed was not necessarily the native grasses in front of the sign of the Fillmore Complex, the administrative building. So there's a little bit of them that were removed. The rest was not part of that project. I guess there's a lot of backpedaling and pun intended. We're really in the weeds in terms of justifying this, But it's I guess I know right. I'll be here all week. Try the veal. But what I really struggle with a lot though is why this was the biggest thing that we needed to be doing right now. We're in the middle of a shutdown. Like I think we hadn't had a state budget yet at the moment that this was ripped out.
You're right.
We have a county government that is fragile at best. Like what the hell are we doing? Caring about something like, was this the top priority? We got a new administrator coming in. The optics are just bad.
Yeah.
And you know what? People they're coming out of, they're still recovering from this Ottawa Impact era, and they have this new majority in, and everyone thinks, we can all go home now because everything's fine. No, everyone is still hyper aware and deeply suspicious and paranoid as hell.
That is very true.
Can confirm because I'm getting these tips all the time about. They'll hear a commissioner say something, they'll see an administrator make a decision about something, and then they just make a lot of the logical, leaps that I think is just based off of emotional thinking, and everyone is in fear of, are we okay? And they're almost looking for reasons for us, to justify that we're not okay yet. And but let's just bulldoze some grass and have a bunch of people, annoyed about it. It's such an unnecessary priority. We've got, this huge funding gap in Medicaid dollars for CMH. We've got, we're struggling to fund all this other stuff because we're losing all of these grant dollars because of the federal government issues. Why? Just why? So that's Grassgate, and I haven't written about it because I honestly don't know.
I haven't talked about it on the air. No.
I mean, while I've articulated what I think about it, just from a comment, because I'm supposed to kind of be representative of John Q. Public, and this is just, I mean, in my, no disrespect to the officials, but it's just dumb. But I can't just write the fact that I think that Sarah thinks that this is dumb. I have to be a professional, and I have to get people to talk about it. And it's crazy because a lot of people do not want to talk about the stupid grass.
Wow.
Well, then maybe we shouldn't be doing things that we don't want to talk about.
Right.
Because unfortunately, it exists. And there was this, barren landscape, these series of pictures that all these people sent me where it's just like completely bulldozed away. I'm just like, what are we doing? It's, yeah.
Oh, boy.
Also, I mean, just as a side note, it's October. Why do we care about grass in October? Everything's dying in October. This could not have waited until April.
So, okay.
Thank you for coming to my TED Talk.
Yeah. There were meetings yesterday, right?
I've had a lot of conversations about grass, and I'm not okay. Go ahead.
There were meetings yesterday.
Yes. Sorry, I accidentally kicked the table.
What were they planning?
That's what I think about the grass.
Yeah, planning and policy and finance and administration. Okay, the grass wasn't brought up then?
No.
Okay,
but it was brought up in September.
Okay.
At it was one of the subcommittee meetings. I believe it was. It was either one of planning and policy or finance. And Commissioner Jacob Bonema asked Administrator Gary Rosema, we're getting all of these questions about this. This is before it had been ripped out. And he said, can you speak to this? And Rosema said, well, before we do anything, we will have a plan that we'll give to you or present to you.
Oh, that's right. Yep.
A lot of people interpreted that as we're going to have another public discussion, and perhaps the board is going to vote on this. He was not that specific, but then it was never discussed publicly again, and then it was just removed. So that's why people are mad.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's not a grass board, is there? Grazing in the grass is.
I mean, do we really need
it? Can you feel it?
Do we really need another board?
So there's all kinds of boards that people are going to be nominated for?
Yes.
Okay.
And there's an interesting segue between this, what we were just talking about, and the boards and appointments.
You had said that some of that stuff was ripped out for groundwater, and then it made me think,
there is a groundwater board.
There is a groundwater board, but there's not a grass board.
Correct.
Okay, there's a groundwater board. Okay.
Yeah, and strategic impact is a department that's supposed to kind of take lots of different initiatives and sort of help organize them and take input from different things and, champion projects such as groundwater retention, plan, that kind of thing. But the groundwater board is a I know it sounds super boring, but it's actually a really pressing issue in Ottawa County.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah, you're right.
Yeah, we have a serious water crisis,
yes.
Especially in the middle and the eastern portions of the county.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So we need a valid groundwater board.
Yes, we do.
So when will they be nominating people for that? How does that work?
Well, so in my travels about Grassgate 2025, there was an interesting segue into appointments because there was a concerned citizen who she ran for county commission in I can't remember what was it, the 7th district?
I don't know.
It's Sylvia Rody's district. That includes Grand Valley. But this is Rebecca Patrick. She ran as a Democrat for the county board. She did lose to Sylvia Rody, but she has remained very engaged in the county government and its policies and politics. She often attends all of the meetings, including the subcommittee meetings, and she has applied to be on several boards. Yeah. And when she was airing her concerns about how Grassgate was being handled, she sent an email to the entire board of commissioners, and she, strategically outlined what her concerns were. One of the commissioners responded to her and replied all so that the entire board had the benefit of that response. And this was Josh Bruger, who represents Grand Haven, Spring Lake, Ferrisburg. And in it, he did sort of address her concerns, and then he kind of tacks on at the end, by the way, I see that, you're up for an appointment for a couple of our boards and commissions, and she has been up for a couple of previous spots, and she's been passed over.
Yeah, I know.
Is that, any one person's fault? No, the board votes as a unit. I think that there's some concerns about, whether or not we're going to have a truly representative government, including the people that helped really foster some good dialogue over the last campaign cycle. Progressives in particular, I think that they're waiting to see whether or not the new board majority is actually going to include them, because it hasn't really embraced that yet. Again, I'm not lobbying criticism, but that's just what, that's the lay of the land right now in the political landscape in the county. So in his email to her, Mr. Berger says, I would really like to see you not necessarily be posting to Facebook with your concerns before trying to address them in a more productive way. Now, Ms. Patrick interpreted that as an inference that her chances of being appointed to these future boards and committees might be in jeopardy because of the way that he is interpreting her social media behavior.
I see.
And so then she subsequently filed an ethics complaint against him, and that was filed earlier this week, I believe on Monday. And now we have to I on my list of things to do today, I have to go to the bylaws of the board to see what happens when somebody makes an ethics complaint against somebody, because honestly, I have absolutely no idea. What do we do now?
It wasn't brought up yesterday, was it?
No, it wasn't.
And I was waiting for that. Were you waiting for that in public comment or something?
I was thinking that somebody was going to acknowledge it, particularly because when Mr. Berger gave his, so before the ethics complaint gets filed, Mr. Berger just had sent his response to Ms. Patrick. So then Patrick does respond back and, sort of says, well, I'm disappointed that you would, include and kind of tack on this conversation to what I was talking about. But what I found interesting was that 2 of the 4 Ottawa Impact Commissioners actually did a reply all, because remember, the entire board saw this exchange happening because there was a reply all situation going on. And so Sylvia Rohde and Allison Miedema voiced their concern about Berger, sort of PSing this additional issue onto that response, and had some concerns about why he would do that, and that they were disappointed that he would do that. So I know that they're talking about it internally. I just don't know exactly how this is going to play out. But I mean, even after the last 2.5 years of censuring, each other and and all this infighting and stuff, I don't think that anyone actually filed a formal ethics complaint against anybody else.
I believe you are correct.
Yeah, I honestly don't know what is supposed to happen. I don't know the process, and I don't know what the potential outcomes are. So stay tuned, because I intend to find out later today.
Okay, this is interesting though, in that you speak about the community is still there's not a lot of trust.
I know.
They're still like, they don't. I've heard things like, well, I guess he was after all. You can fill in the blank. Or I've heard a lot of that, and I'm like, okay, thanks for telling me that. People like to tell us stuff. I know for whatever reason, they just like to tell us stuff. But I'm sensing that just because it's a new board, that doesn't mean that what happened for those 2 years, that people are over it, or that they trust everyone.
Yeah, I think
it's different.
This is something that I've been concerned about since before they took office. They meaning the new majority. So it's 6 moderate Republicans that are in the new majority. And a lot of them, I mean, with the exception of Phil Kyers, who was a long-time commissioner up until when he lost in 22. And so for one cycle he was out, but now he's back in. Everyone else is a newcomer to this board. And I don't think they were not here the way that a lot of other people were here. I think that they read the news stories. I think that they watched some of the meetings, but that is different than being in it and hearing it exhaustivtively for 2 years. The vitriol and the 3 hours of public comments and the accusations and it was vicious.
It was awful.
It was one of the most toxic things I've ever experienced.
And Roger Bergman would come in after every meeting, and it's interesting over the 2 years how his voice became more stressed and more stressed and quieter and smaller and quiet because he was so exhausted.
Right. Well, we all were.
Yeah,
but,
yeah.
But I mean,
And he felt defeated.
Right. And I know that it is difficult to fully feel. You can't. Somebody can tell you an experience that they've gone through, and you can relate and you can empathize, but you have not experienced what they have experienced to the level in which they have experienced it. And I just think that the new board majority, I'm making an assumption here, but I just feel like they thought that they kind of had a good gauge on where things were at. And as long as they just righted the ship and no new controversies happen and no new lawsuits got filed and we get a new administrator and then we're back in business, baby. And it's like, well, no.
Yeah.
We all went through a trauma, and honestly, just even simple mistakes where you're not communicating, or it seems like you've had a previous discussion before something comes up before the board, or you just think that you're just doing the business of the government. No one else is seeing that from the perspective that you're seeing that. We're all just asking a ton of questions. Why is he saying that? What does he mean by that? We're all in paranoidville. I mean, myself included. I'm deeply suspicious of everything that county government.
I'm deeply suspicious of everything.
Right, and it doesn't have anything to do with any. I don't have any sort of specific doubts or feelings about any one official. It's just I've had to go through this whole surprise, some really weird, crazy stuff is happening, and now you have to drop everything and you got to write for the next 6 hours and try to figure out what the hell's going on, and rinse and repeat for 2+ years. I mean, we've almost been through this for three full years now, and I'm tired. And I think the community is tired.
Yeah.
But the current officials don't have the right to just say, "Oh gosh, I couldn't possibly comprehend that people might still be wary of county government." Yeah, because it doesn't just fix it overnight. People's feelings don't just shut off like a light switch. Does anything work that way?
No.
In life ever?
No.
I mean, come on, guys, let's get real.
And there's all those wedge issues all the time.
Right. And every time that we have like a situation like where, some grass gets ripped out, where people don't, I know it's grass. I know. But doesn't it bother you that everyone kind of rallied around grass? Isn't that more telling about the way that people are feeling about?
It is actually. You're right.
Because what's the next small thing that's going to blow up like a tinderbox? Because this will happen again, unless the current administration understands that this is where the public is at on all sides of the political spectrum. Everyone is deeply suspicious of everyone else.
Exactly. You're right about that. You're
right.
And
every single unforced error, to use a sports metaphor, it just extends that deep-seated distrust and the unwillingness to move on and accept that things are okay. It just delays it by months. Not communicating about the grass. Well, 6 months out,
right?
You just delayed, people saying, "Oh, everything's going okay," by another 6 months. If you extend that long enough, you're just going to open the door for a group like Ottawa Impact or some other, political organization who's going to be able to rally around these issues and say, "See, they're just as bad as before," and and they're not listening to us, and then they're going to be able to use that, like you said, a wedge issue to get voted in, and they have to be careful of that.
Yeah. You know who always appears very cool and calm? Phil Kyers.
Well, he's seen things.
No, I'm serious.
Yeah.
He's just cool, calm and collected, doing his thing, typing things, writing things down. I mean,
yep.
Where I'm my expressions, and I'm always moving around in my seat, bumping into my. I mean, when I was on village council in Ravenna, I would just doodle because that would keep me from my facial expressions because I can't just sit there.
Well, I think I've said before, my eyebrows love to just leap off of my face, and I have a face made for print. That's all I'm saying, because I can't. Yeah, like when a source says something very surprising to me, or sometimes where you're like, come on, it's really hard to not.
Yeah.
Have a facial reaction to that. Whenever I'm out and about in person covering meetings live, which blissfully I don't have to do very often, I have to make a conscious effort to not move my face because it naturally just wants to react to a lot of different things.
People were wondering where the media was at these last meetings, and I just wanted to say that you can still cover the meeting. You don't have to physically be there.
Yeah, I mean, and
There's all kinds of technology, guys.
Anyone who's read anything that I've written about the county since January of 2023, I went to one meeting.
Wake up.
On January 10th. One.
Hello.
Everything else was done by YouTube.
Where are we at on lawsuits?
Oh, yeah. Okay. So Ben Wetmore's attorney did sign off on the settlement for the Zimmer case. Mm-hmm. The judge in that case, Judge Noto in Grand Rapids, has not yet issued the order. Sometimes it's just a logistical thing. So as soon as he takes the acceptance that the county made for the settlement offer, Wetmore obviously signing off on it as well. I don't see any reason why this would not then be concluded. What I find interesting is that I got a response to my FOIA request for the closed session meeting minutes, because once they voted to disclose the meeting minutes, it was one of the conditions of the settlement. I thought, okay, well, I'm not exactly sure how this is going to work, but I'm going to put my FOIA on file so that when it's, when the judge issues the order, I can get the minutes. Mm-hmm. I got an interesting response where it said that while the board did accept this settlement, they need that order in order to do that last step of disclosing the minutes. So they will be coming. However, when we go back to what Commissioner Jordan Geritsma was talking about when he went on this long speech about some of the affidavits and records that the county has in its possession about allegations of former board chair Joe Moss's conduct in the brokering of these separation agreements. That is a little bit unclear because I got denied access to those particular files because of attorney-client privilege. I would be shocked, and if this is not revisited at the next full board meeting where they vote to waive attorney-client privilege, because I get the deep sense that the majority on the board just wants to air out all the dirty laundry.
Oh, my mouth.
No
is
one
on
is
the floor
telling me
here.
that specifically, but that is I'm getting a very strong vibe that is
goodness.
what the intention is because they just want the truth to be out there. And frankly, so do I.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, I've had a lot of people tell me what transpired in those meetings. I've known for a
very long
time.
Yeah, I know.
And I will say, it's a little bit of a spoiler, but my name is mentioned in the discussion that occurred on January 10th.
Okay.
And so I am referenced in a complaint that Jordan Epperson allegedly was curating against the county to help justify his severance agreement. But so just when that comes, I will tell the story of what actually happened.
Please do. I wonder what Jordan...
But we need to see because I know that my name is in it, but I have not read it. Mm-hmm. So again, it's just, things, but you can't write about things, you can't prove things until you actually have them in your possession as a journalist.
I wonder what Jordan Epperson's doing these days.
Well, he was on Mackinac with Ben Wetmore and
of course
Brandon
he was.
Hall.
Of course,
just in September. You know the people that almost sued the county, and we paid them like $200,000 to leave so that they wouldn't sue the county. Yeah,
probably
Mr. Moss is hanging out with them on Mackinac. Yeah.
And I'm sure that I wonder if they stayed at the Grand Hotel. I wonder. Interesting. Oh well. I don't really have anything else.
Do we need anything else?
No. Go to Murthy's, MIRTHY''S. It's on Washington Avenue in Grand Haven, and you can find a copy of Dirk's book, The Route to Elsewhere. Go to Fashion Forward Consignments on Columbus and Grand Haven and check out our display, 2 J's in a Pod, skeletons, and you can vote for us. And then
I'm very svelte. I've never looked so good.
They'll draw a winner, I think, a week from Saturday.
I know that we have at least one vote because somebody on Facebook said, I just voted for you. And I was like, we got to vote.
Yeah, I know. I was really excited about that.
As long as it wasn't a big old goose egg, I'm happy.
Yeah,
but I just love this time of year.
It was something fun to do. And then every year at the radio station, we do like a holiday radio play, which is really cool. We'll hopefully be doing another one this year. I just wanted to throw that out there. So I think we're done. You think so? What?
Call it a wrap.
That's a wrap.
This is a wrap.
Oh my gosh. She almost threw her microphone.
Sarah, Bobera, Banana, Fana, Fofera, Mimamomera, Sarah. Bye-bye.